My name is Lecturer Clergy Bishop Kenya Michael Otome, and Lecturer Clergy is a teacher in theology. I've taught an official force equivalent to Kenya Army as a civilian civilian spiritual affairs instructor, an official force equivalent to Kenya Army Paramilitary General Service Unit 2004 to 2016 or 2016. And I've also taught beside Bible College, Narrow County Government, predominantly Maasai sub-tribe, Reverence or county government, and also African Inland Church beside Bible College for many years. Students who are taking 4 years training in the systematic theology, and also which are normally ending up being pastors, reverend, bishops, apostles. I have so many of them, including even recently met some of them at AIC Kijabe, African Inland Church Kijabe, who are giving biblical cultural service to the sick people. One of them is a Turkana priest who is there with a big church, Reverend James Ronyi. Another one is a Kikuyu from Embo. Alright, it's called Reverend Peter Waweru. They are there at the Kijabe Hospital. I used to help them actually. And as their teacher, lecturer at the Narrow Bible beside Bible College, AIC, African beside Bible College, among others many bishops and reverends and apostles, but basically AIC and other churches too. So we will read actually 1 Samuel. This book was written by somebody called Nathan, according to the tradition, and it was actually compiled, a record of Samuel, Nathan, and God did it. In 1 Chronicles, if you read it, 29 to 29, and we will see sometimes in this book, it is hard to look in a mirror. We are standing face to face with our own failures, because we will be shocked to see our flaws and prefer not to look after our own failures in life. So 2 Samuel was written by those human beings, and to trace the history of Israel from the death, that is why it was written, from the death of King Saul to the end of King David reign, approximately 1010 to 970 years before Jesus' birth, and it was written after the death of King Solomon and the division of the kingdom around 930, that is northern kingdom and southern kingdom of Israel, and probably after the death of Solomon, and that's why I said it actually in the after the division, during the division of the king around 930 before Jesus Christ was born. And what to look at is actually human event. How David rose to power as a king, to become king. God selected him and appointed him, and his heroic kind of exploit you will also read in this book, and David's disappointment as well when he sinned, and also his rebellion of his son Absalom, who want to overthrow him, and God shows him justice and mercy in response to his sins after killing his brave soldier Uriah and married a woman to become a concubine, one of his 300 concubines among 700 royal birth women, the mother of Solomon, King Solomon, which was a concubine of David. So we are going to read actually the book over without wasting time. Why that book of 2 Samuel, chapter 6, verse 7, verse 6 and 7. That is 1 Samuel, chapter 6 and 7. The ark brought to Jerusalem. And someone tried to help the ark when it was near to fall and died. That was actually Uzzah. We are going to read why God killed someone who was actually helping the covenant to stand when it was actually nearly to fall down, when it was actually pulled by the bulls using a cat, kind of a thing today, because there's no vehicles that time. So 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 6 to 7. When they came to threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah reached out and took hold of the ark of God covenant because the oxen stumbled, because he was exhausted, because they exhausted. So the Lord anger burned against Uzzah because of his irreverent act. Therefore God struck him down and he died there beside the ark of God. Why could God kill someone who was trying to help? When David and his, in verse 7, that is actually the key verse is 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 7. When David and his 3 soldiers met King David and his 30,000 men moved the ark in a manner contrary to God's instruction, they were all irreverent irrelevant. In that case, David set a stage for the subsequent strategy. Okay, but instead of striking 3,000 men, God struck only the one who came closer and showed the most disregard of his holiness, of righteousness of God. God struck only the one, that one actually, and that was none other than Uzzah. Uzzah, alright, died because he flagrantly violated God's specific instruction about caring for the ark. His intention notwithstanding. Only the Kohathites, a special branch of the tribe of Levites, which are normally priests, were allowed to carry the ark of covenant, and even they couldn't touch it directly, or they could die too. If you read Numbers chapter 4 verse 15, but when we are told when Uzzah touched the ark, God acted swiftly and dramatically to protect his holiness, righteousness before the people of Israel, and strike him down to die. It is possible that Uzzah, having grown up in a house of Abinadab, where the ark had been kept for many years, had grown too familiar with the sacred objects and consequently lacked appropriate reverence or fear of God. Familiarity breeds contempt. For it, whatever the case, he paid with his life of violating God's standard. Some are careful to note that Uzzah's death sentence tells us nothing about eternal destination, whether he was going to heaven in Isaiah chapter 66 verse 1, or going to hell in Revelation 20 verse 11 to 15. What do I want to say? Why does God kill Uzzah for trying to protect the ark of God? Like now, our president is shocking news today. Alright, the president is helping God to plant trees, to tell people to plant trees. You can see Uzzah was struck down. It was actually, here it is actually the picture of that ark. So, okay, so God struck the man down in 2 Samuel chapter 2. Okay, because Uzzah reached out and took hold of the ark of God, which he was not actually permitted, because the oxen stumbled. So in verse 6, and however, resulted God to strike him down to die instantly. There's nothing bad than when you're helping God. Our president today has actually staged a kind of an holiday for all Kenyans to plant trees. I have a farm in Marsabit, not one, but I'm using one particularly. The rest are big farms like ranches in county government of Lysamis, that is Kamboya location or wards. Lysamis, one of the sub-wards. Kamboya, I have a big farm there. I used to do business before I went to Bible College, Africa Inland Church beside Bible College. That is Kapsabet Bible College, but later on I stopped it, but I am now tilting the one in Sonka location, and also others, I'm not using it, they are ranches in the same place. Marsabit also Saku constituency, but I'm also in Lysamis constituency. So actually I used to do some kind of farming there around the mountain, and whenever we till the land, there is weeds. We don't even plant trees, it is God planting them. Alright? And we used to sow seeds, and God made them to germinate. Alright? And we have a big forest of Marsabit, very big one. And we do irrigation around the mountain because of Lake Paradise. We have a lot of water in Marsabit, mountain. Those Samburus who are living around the mountain, 3/4 of that mountain, we have annexed 3/4 of the mountain, that is Samburus, speakers, which look like Ethiopians, but we are Samburu Maasai, we are soft tribe. We have annexed 3/4 of the mountain. The only place left is town, but we have annexed the whole, a fertile area of the land, and we are also using part of it as our, livestock rearing area, livestock pastoral pastures area, and also we are also having farming, and we grow many actually katumani maize, and also other crops. Even some people are planting even mera, like meru, those who are not safe, some of them. All right, and they do well, and we have also bunches of bananas. We use also to have grafted trees and so forth and so forth. We are shocked today. The president has declared a day of holiday to help God to plant trees and using a lot of resources, a lot of money, instead of helping us who are dying of hunger. I'm swinging inside my house, which was built by Queen Elizabeth, British, in 1956. All right, the president female, which was here in Kenya during 1952 to 1963, the one who has handed power to the blacks. The mother of King Charles III, we visited us recently. So I'm living in that house. I was given because I've been serving paramilitary general service and official force equivalent to Kenya Army for 12 years as a civilian spiritual affairs instructor, volunteer. I was not employed. I was just given some subsistence allowance. But now this is the house I've harvested, the government, which was built by British, not the Kenya government. I thank British, not the Kenya government, the black ones, no. It's actually the British which I could say thank you, and God also, which has given us the house. I'm sleeping inside the house, Mpakas village, Nairobi national government, Mpakas is Coast. So our president today is helping God. Instead of becoming the custodian, as the Bible says, and us also, we are the custodian to take care of the plan which God has actually initiated. That's what the Bible says, even in Psalms, not Psalms, but actually Psalms 24, everything belongs to God, including us. So we are not supposed to help God to plant trees. We are supposed to protect trees, and to use them for our own purposes to help us. Alright? Alright? But if you have some to plant, but it's not a kind of something you can say, I'm helping God to plant millions of trees because God is unable to plant trees. That is actually a deflection of the president misusing our funds to go and use it, okay, for his own benefits in the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources. Alright? Okay? What is the reason actually why actually God said we are to subdue the earth in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28? God actually entrusted human beings to be the custodian of the planet Earth resources, alright? Which suggests that we are supposed to use it responsibly, but not to go on planting trees, okay? This verse is neither giving a human being a license to abuse the environment or to waste the environment, nor prohibition against the use of the environment. God has provided animals, minerals, trees, land, water for people to use to improve their lives, including trees. Alright? We are not supposed to plant trees, neither to misuse it, neither also to misuse others. God has listed what we are supposed to protect. Alright? We are not there to misuse or to abuse them, but we are given a license to use them to improve our lives. One of them mentioned here, I said actually animals. I have also animals myself. Alright? Minerals, trees, land, water, because we are not supposed to open water taps to make water actually, or to make the misuse water, or for also trees, for people to use to improve their livelihood. Alright? We are not told that we are there to plant trees because God is unable to plant trees. That is wrong. Even around me here, in this Mpakas village, we have a lot of mushrooming trees. We are not planting them. And we used to till the land, but the weeds are there. God is planting. Succession of God. So the president of Kenya must stop helping God. And that's why now God is actually striking the nation in a stock market crashing down economically. Our stock market economically is crashing down because of this kind of misbehaviors of our president, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto and his administration. They are deflecting our funds, which are supposed to be used in an expenditure form, in all for 7 county government, 290 constituencies, and 1,450 wards assemblies. We are supposed to be given this money. He has stopped it. The elderly men have stopped to plant trees. Youth, Kasim Mitani, which was in the previous government, he has stopped it to plant trees, to say that to plant trees. Alright? And other also forms, like disabled people. I'm having even a amputated leg child. young man, which is about 32 years, my second son, we are not given any form to fill for him to get any help. All right, disabilities. We have so many of the people here amputated legs because of the government misbehaviors. They don't honor our national insurance fund kind of cards, and when we go to hospital, they don't honor, and until our legs are amputated, our sons. I am a presidential aspirant of 2022 under Jubilee Reformation Movement, but I was barred by the president. He stopped us. I would have even toppled the president, the current head of state, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, in party primaries. So I opted to become actually team independent. And another president, which was nearly to topple or to bring down President Kibaki during 2007 elections. And that's none other than Brigadier retired President, His Excellency Gogobo Jeremiah Wanyonyi, was born by Bungoma. He's a son of Baluya subtribe, Bukusu. He's a brigadier, retired man, a big man in army, band. He was in charge of band, all right, all over the country, battalions, all right. He is now actually going to deputize me to become my vice president because he has agreed for me to be the president rather than being vice president come 2027 or earlier, because this government now, stock market economically has crashed down. There's no money. And that's why the president said it recently, he wanted to resign, and we are waiting to resign actually, so that he can pave way for me to be the president. And I'm also hoping to marry Supreme Power President or People President, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga youngest daughter. East African Legislative Assembly Member of Parliament, Honorable Imgad Raila, to be my first wife and first lady in the coming government. And my government is stipulated in Facebook, Twitter, and also YouTube. I used to be there with all my administrations, with all my high, ambassadors there, with all my what I'm going to do to Kenyans, socially, economically, and spiritually, and all the politicians, my ministers, which will be members of parliament together with the assistant ministers. All right, they're about 22. They are there. High accredited ambassadors and high commissioners, which will go to various countries to represent the country. I've written them down. They are there. So actually, that is me. So this president is risking his life and the entire country. That's why now there's a terrible flood all over the country, like Noah's flood in in Genesis. Genesis chapter, in Genesis, the Noah's flood is there. Okay, now the flood is all over the country. We are experiencing God curse because the president is helping God to tell us to plant trees instead of giving us money. Youth which are dying, adults which are dying, elderly are dying, disabled people are dying, all over. Alright? So actually, and if you read actually Genesis chapter 6, you will see Noah's flood. Because of what? God saw people are so corrupt. They want to reach God. And also if you continue also reading, you will see even during the Tower of Babel, people misbehaved to help God to build an, the Iraq near the Baghdad area, in that plain, to build actually a tower to reach God in their own effort to help God. Alright? And out of pride, God brought them down like the way He has brought Satan in Ezekiel chapter 28. So what we want to tell Kenyans, don't plant trees. Don't try to help God. God is able to help His natural kind of behaviors, in His attributes. Whatever you want to do, He can be able to do it. He is the one who have even formed you in your mother's womb. If you read Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, including myself, and put bones inside that womb, blood, okay, meat, flesh, and every part of your body, and you come as a human being. It is God who has helped you. God bless you, human beings in Kenya and beyond. And let us try to resist this kind of a behavior of helping God. Otherwise, pray for me as your future president and my vice president also. I said I'm Bishop Kenya's Statman, Bishop of Kenya Republic, aspiring to be president of Kenya Republic United States of Kenya Republic for 7 county government, 290 constituencies, and 1,450 ward assemblies, come 27 or earlier. And